So, hope you're having a great afternoon at Spoge 2023, that you're doing well, not just here in Hall 7, but also on our live stream at home. Hope you've had a good lunch. Have you had lunch? Hello. Wir haben here more room. If people want to come and here sit, we have our first panel talk now. We're going to speak about sustainability management. This is something that affects everyone, especially in the equestrian sport branch. So I'd like to introduce our guests. This is Maïté Angleys. Hello, welcome. Hello.
Vielen herzlichen Dank. Herzlich willkommen.
Thank you. I'm happy to introduce two experts here that we're going to talk about sustainability management. I'd like to introduce Karin Ekberg from Leadership and Sustainability, Katharina Hironimus-Dalic. She's the CEO of the company Equimus.
Gut.
So, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. We'd like to start. Let's start with a short introduction of our professions and who we are here on the stage. Let's start with Katharina. My name is Katharina Hironimus. I'm the founder and CEO of Equimus. It was founded in 2020. Before that, I didn't have much to do with horses. I do come from a riding family. We ride to Class S. But I actually studied electrotechnology. Then I was working for a large automobile company. And then I was the secretary, for the assistant to the CEO. I worked a lot with sustainability in the automotive branch. It's a very important topic there. And this topic then I brought in connection with equestrian sport and realized that there's lots of room for growth there. I had lots of thought about transparency and to get all this on a high quality level with good products that work. Then I got to fulfill my dream and come into this industry with lots of research. And together with my family, I decided to found this company and to bring sustainability into the equestrian textile industry. We now have a rider collection. We really happy to be here and that we have a platform to discuss sustainability. So, thank you. So, Karin, if you could say a few words about yourself. Hello, my name is Karin Ekberg. I am a chemical engineer. I've been working for years in sustainability. At the beginning, I worked with water treatment, and this brought me into sustainability management. My last position was with Adidas. Between 2009 and 2014, I worked there, and since then, I now have my own company called Leadership and Sustainability. We're in Würzburg, Germany. We have a team of 10 here in Germany and 30 more in the workforce globally. On one hand, we do sustainability consulting, and we also work with the supply chain for companies for environment and social issues.
Ja, vielen Dank. Es freut mich besonders, hier das geballte Wissen auf der Bühne zu haben. Ein Satz auch noch zu mir. Mein Name ist Maïté.
My name is Maïté Angleys.
Responsibility beim BSI.
I am at the German Sporting Goods Industry Association.
Ein Branchenverband, in dem die Industrie, gerade auch die Reitsportbranche, sehr stark vertreten
This
ist.
is very heavily representative in the equestrian sport industry.
Bei der Firma Nickwax lange Zeit gereist.
I worked for a long time at the company Knitwax, and I worked on sustainability there. Now I'm with the BSI.
Nachhaltigkeit auf der Bühne. Das freut mich besonders.
That's the German sporting goods industry. I'd like to just start right away into our first questions. The first and most important question that we have. So why should firms look into, why should they work sustainably? It's not an easy question to answer. We all know that there's only limited resources on this planet. And we do have to change our behavior and our consumer behavior. We want to make products that people can use with a good conscience. So we ask, what kind of products do we want to make? There is these three aspects to it: the ecology, and then there's the social responsibility aspect. Who makes the products that I'm wearing? What that also involves what kind of employer am I? And the third is the economic factor. How does my company develop? Are we growing, and are we growing in a good way? Maybe we're going more slowly, but with a better foundation and with good people. So these three dimensions: ecological, social responsibility, and economic responsibility. These are called people, planet, and profit. It has to be good, it has to work, it has to be of good quality. But when a customer thinks, where has this been made, how has this been made, and where is it from, then that's something that then we've succeeded in what we're trying to do.
Karin, auch bei dir hier die Frage, warum sollten wir nachhaltig wirtschaften? Was mich auch interessieren würde, ist gerade auch dieser Bereich Business Case für
So,
Nachhaltigkeit.
what interests me is this idea, business case for sustainability. Why should we work with sustainability? Many of us work in this area because we're convinced that this is right. But it can also help us to think that it's actually a good business idea behind it, and there's a good business case for it. In all the years that I've worked on sustainability, I've often had the experience that I had to explain why you had to have a strategy, what the purpose is of it. And then to show them the different business cases for it. This can save costs. It's compliant. It can be that you're saving energy, or you can also get a better reputation because of your sustainability, and this will help to a business to grow. You know the brand Patagonia? This is a very good example of such a brand. They are known for really going all the way with sustainability.
Ja, vielen Dank.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to say something, add to something to that. We all know that right now it's an employee market right now. And if you're a company and you're transparent, if you communicate, you have a better position on the labor market. I often hear people say, oh, it's hard to find workers, but we get emails weekly for people who are applying to work for us. They're finding that there's a company with whom they can identify.
Absolut. Also das kann ich nur bestätigen. Ich glaube, ein werteorientiertes Unternehmen, ein
A
Unternehmen.
value-oriented company will have no trouble finding good talent. I'd also like to add, we have this intrinsic motivation and the business caseness. There's also external factors. We have in the budget from 7 years. We'll see tomorrow we have a very clear planetary boundary that we are not able to surpass. In the EU regulations, the legislatures are working very, very hard to add sustainability into the legislation. So, Katharina, you spoke about these 3 dimensions: people, planet, and profit.
Wie sieht denn jetzt Nachhaltigkeitsmanagement eigentlich aus? Wie kann ich diese 3 Dimensionen?
What does this look like? How can I anchor these 3 dimensions into my company, into a company? These 3. What questions involve these 3 dimensions? For example, for me, is the climate more important? Is water, waste, are social questions, maybe ethical questions? For me, what's important is that the managers are on board for sustainability. That they support all of the measures, that they act as role models for these measures. There are the ISO standards that one can be compliant with, but beyond them, it's important that you can understand that it's understandable how these things are built in a policy, that you have objectives that you can reach. It's important that the topic be integrated into the company. So, for example, that procurement will carry out their work with these measures in mind. This would also apply to design or any other department. When you have it integrated into the business processes, then you can be successful. Otherwise, the danger is that you develop a satellite department that tries to correct what the others are doing, what other divisions are doing. Thank you. So, this the institutionalization of these measures in the firm are important. So, what let's talk more about these 3 dimensions. Katharina, generally and also by Equimus, what do these dimensions involve by you and your company? We use these dimensions from at the very beginning when we're starting to think about the design. When we talk about what do we need, well, functionality is the most important, is very important. It's important that the product works. Then we develop it with the idea that we want to use sustainable materials. So you need competent designers who can work with sustainable topics. And this goes into production, the ecological footprint. We're currently producing a lot in Portugal. This is a good location for sustainable textiles. We also have returned some of the production to Germany. It's very interesting. We have a merino knit shirt. We've developed a merino knit shirt that can be made in Germany. And it's a good way to keep things in Germany, and then it doesn't cost the customer 400 euros. I'm not a designer. I do have great designers that have these ideas. Otherwise, it's impossible. And then it goes more into the customer and what kind of packaging do you use? Are you using plastic? Can your packaging be reused? So what you really want to do is bring awareness, and you need to bring the customer on board with you. So we are educating our customers, but we do want to make that, pleasant for them. We don't want to be didactic with them and tell them what they can and can't do, but we want to bring them along on this ride with us. So about ecology, maybe we can talk about climate protection or protection against biodiversity loss. Another thing that's important is production itself, and ecological production. It's important that the customers understand sustainable practices. If they have water waste, it's important that they are able to control what goes into the water waste, that they avoid putting chemicals into the water. It's an important issue, the use of chemicals in our industry. We use a lot of energy. Thank you. So good points about ecology. So we'd like to talk about social responsibility with Karin. What does this mean exactly? Well, there are differences depending on the area. If you look at a factory where something is produced, maybe not in Portugal, but in Asia, what are the work conditions? What makes them worse than the work conditions that we have here? So it's important to say that working conditions are good enough. Are the employees able to organize? Are they paid for overtime? Is there no sexual harassment in the
Beispiel auch,
workplace?
dass die Mitarbeiter einen
Are the employees,
zahlen müssen, überhaupt
do they have to pay a fee in order to get the job? This happens often. And that there's questions in the supply chain. But in the companies themselves, there are a lot of social responsibility issues that we have to look into. Diversity, equal rights, sexual harassment.
Da gibt es noch eine Dimension, wie tue ich mich mit den
And then there's the matter of
wie tue ich mich mit ihnen benehmen, was
how do
um das Umfeld zu unterstützen.
how do I support the environment myself? So, Karin, do you have anything to add? I can talk about the practical side. I look around to see what is happening. We have a manufacturer in Portugal who has a gymnasium, a fitness center for the employees.
Non-Office jetzt, also gibt es natürlich im Office, aber in der Herstellung sehr toll. Und das sind einfach so Kleinigkeiten, die
There's little things
entscheiden.
that also, it makes a difference.
Qualitativ top.
The products are good because the people who make them are motivated, and you can see that. You can see that at the end in the product.
Zwei Bereiche. Ja, natürlich geht soziale Verantwortung.
So, social responsibility is, of course, important. Katharina, however, said that
Das wird einfach auch key sein in den nächsten
when
Jahren.
you form a company, it's really key to begin with this. And now, something that's often overlooked in marketing.
Dimensionen.
How is it in Equimus financial sustainability? What does that mean for your company?
Ein Herzensprojekt. Es war nicht dafür gemacht, zu sagen, okay, wir skalieren das.
Well, we didn't make our company to,
Company.
make a big profitable company. We had other reasons behind it. Everything, the growth took longer this way, but it gave us a lot of time to reflect. There were offers from investors who wanted to participate in our company. Some of them, if I found a partner who was on the same page as we were, I found that really important. And then you have, in that case, then you have the financial freedom to make the decisions that you need to make, and your investors then stand by you because they're on the same page as you as far as the environment. So sustainable economy leads to a lot more freedom for me. Karin, about sustainability management, what are the financial aspects to that?
Versuchen sollte, das Business Case.
One has to try to integrate the business case into the sustainability management so that all these different activities and programs that you want to start, you may need to, if you're doing climate protection, how much does it cost? What kind of effect is this going to have? Then you might have to size that up against something like water waste. You have to say to yourself, what can I do for the greatest effect? You can't do everything that you want often. So you have to decide what's the most important thing that you can do. So it doesn't have to be an enormous program from the start. You can start small and then you build up from there.
Super, und das ist eine wunderbare
Thanks, great. That's a great introduction to our next talk about starting with the planning early enough. So the question, how do I start building sustainability management in my company? Katharina, we'll start with you. Well, for me, it was easy. The company was me. It was just me. And so I did it. And now we're growing. And we're in a situation where that sustainability was there from the founding. So I don't have to add it now. It's something that's always been there.
Tone from the top.
It's very, very important that the management is on board, that things happen from the top down. You don't want to change the spirit of your company. It's like Karin said, when there's a sustainability department that sits in an office and just thinks up new things to do, that this will never get fully integrated into the company. It takes a while. There's no company is sustainable simply for the point of being sustainable. It's the little things in your daily work that can be changing. And sometimes it can be fun to change those things. Maybe to bike to work. Maybe that would be fun and you can get fit that way. But this is also a sustainable action. Do we have showers at the company? These little things can be changed or added. So these little points will then be integrated into the company, and then you can call yourself a sustainable company. So commitment from management, as you said. So Karin, I'd like to ask you the same question. Where do I start? Well, after the decision has been made, I would start to look. Let's look at the actual situation. Let's analyze the actual situation. I look at my entire company. What do my processes look like? What impacts do they have on the environment? What kind of effects do I have? What are the risks, but what are the opportunities as well? It's important that one sees one has to have risk management in sustainability, but there are many opportunities. For example, in saving energy, that's a risk topic. But if I can save energy, then maybe I can save money. These two aspects of risk and opportunity, it's important that they are researched, that they are examined. And if I apply this through my entire value chain, I can ask myself, and I can look at things and I can understand much better how things look. And then I can say, how do I build upon this analysis? How can I develop my plans? So, okay, then something from me. So when we have the idea that you'd like to do something, I would seek external assistance. So if you need to find someone to help you with sustainable growth, we are at BSC. We have our own stand over in Hall 7. We'll be there. And you're free to come and speak to us at any time. Then I have a last question. What's your wish for the equestrian sport industry? What do we need to change? Karin, we'll start with you.
Sportartikel und in der Outdoor.
Well, we see in the sports article, just like in the automotive branch,
Wichtig ist, dass dieses Umfeld intakt bleibt.
it's important that this
Sport
environment stays intact. It's important also in riding.
Erhalten bleibt. Und deshalb denke ich, gibt es auch eine intrinsische Beweggrund.
There's also an intrinsic reason, foundation to keep going. You can start small. You don't have to have a very large program to change things. You start with small steps. And if you're unsure and you don't know how it should continue, then start very, very small. And then later in time, you can expand. And that will give one courage because these small steps aren't so big. So thank you, Katharina. Same question for Karin. What would you like out of the equestrian industry? Well, in the last 2 years, we've seen many young startups, many new companies who are very, very involved in sustainability and renewable materials. We don't see this much in the larger companies, and we'd really, really like to see that they come on board as well. We think that they have to come on board. But I think it's important that customers also begin to ask themselves, where do my things come from? Am I getting something for 30 euros, but I really don't know where it comes from? Or maybe something more expensive, fewer of them that have better quality and better sustainability integrated into their manufacture. I was laughed at this at the beginning. People thought this was amusing, what I did. But it's showing now that there really is a need for such products. I think that we're on a good path. So we'll ask some questions now. We're opening the stage for questions.
Hilfe gerne beim BSI, bei den entsprechenden Ansprechpartnerinnen.
But the most important thing is that if you want to integrate sustainability management into your thing, then the most important thing to do is to start. So, are there any questions? So this is your chance to find out more about sustainability.
Wunderbar.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we've answered everyone's questions. Good. Then, if there are no questions, then no problem. If anybody has any questions later, you can find us at the BSI stand. I'd like to thank both of you. Thank you. Please give them a warm hand of applause.